the best name brand guitar you can get for the money? Hey everybody, Jayce Allan here, welcome back to the channel. So I review a lot of budget guitars, much to the dismay of some of the people in the comments of my videos, and I always compare budget guitars to more expensive guitars, and that really ruffles a lot of people's feathers. But you have to look at it this way. When it comes to guitars, you have really super cheap, cheap guitars that are kind of not made real great. Usually they have some fit and finish problems, some QC problems, and they're not made with the best materials. And then you have super high-end guitars, custom guitars that are made, you know, largely by hand, or they're customized in some way, and they use exotic woods that drive up the cost. And those are sort of set apart from just your average guitar. Then you have everything in between, and usually that's what I'm talking about when I'm talking about the comparison between a budget guitar and an expensive, quote-unquote expensive guitar. Now, to a lot of people, $1,200 isn't expensive for a guitar, but for some of us, $1,200 is pretty expensive. Although the margin between expensive and cheap or budget guitars is kind of getting narrower, because even budget guitars now, with the economy, tariffs, whatever you want to blame it on, the prices are sort of going up. But you still have really well-made guitars like the Firefly brand, Harley Benton. We talk about Harley Benton quite a bit. Jet, the Vintage brand, if you've ever seen that. Not vintage guitars, but the brand called Vintage, and guitars like that. They're production run guitars. They're made on CNC machines, but they also are touched by human hands. People are assembling them. They're doing the final fit and finish and things like that. And those guitars are well made, and they really do compete with, you know, as much as people don't want to admit it, they compete with Fender, PRS, Gibson. You know, those guitars are, you know, if you consider them expensive, they're expensive because American labor is more expensive. A brand name guitar that, you know, has ad campaigns and has dealers and everybody's sort of taking a piece of the pie, that's going to drive the cost of guitars up. But when you look at what they're made out of, they're very similar. So as much as people don't like to admit it, and as much as it really ticks people off when I say it, there's not a lot of difference between, say, a $200 or $300 guitar and like a $700 to maybe a $2,000 guitar. It all depends on where they're made from and what they're made out of. I mean, even a lot of the so-called cheap or budget guitars are made out of the same wood. They're starting to use alder and ash and things like that, or poplar, which is a little bit cheaper. When you get into the really, really cheap guitars, that's when they start using woods that you've never even heard of, like Phoenix wood or whatever. I mean, there's kind of some weird oddball woods being used out there. And I'm sure that's just some really cheap, abundant wood. Like even ash that a lot of Fender Stratocasters and Telecasters are made of, it's getting kind of hard to find because of the emerald ash borer that we have here in the United States. And that's decimating the ash tree population. And so I'm assuming that that wood is going to become even more expensive and difficult to find as it becomes sort of more rare. You know, that's why exotic woods like mahogany and things like that, rosewood, ebony, all those imported exotic woods drive up the cost of a guitar because they're harder to come by. So that being said, I think most people that follow the channel and subscribe to it definitely know where I stand when it comes to budget guitars, and it really doesn't make sense to sort of do this guitar versus that guitar anymore, because I think it's been done to death. And I think that the people that already know that some of these inexpensive guitars are a great value and great guitars kind of already know it. They're convinced. You're not going to change their minds. And the people that don't believe it and they think that only a USA made guitar or a guitar in the $3,000 to $4,000 range is considered a good guitar. But those of us who play casually, I mean, even for somebody that's, you know, going to tour or play with a local band or whatever, are still going to find a good guitar under $1,000, maybe under $500. That's not going to fall apart when you use it, you know, every other day or every day. Like some people seem to want to claim that a budget guitar is just going to fall apart. It's just going to disintegrate in your hands as soon as you try to play it. But anyway, enough said on that. I think I've beat that drum as much as I can. So anyway, what I'm talking about today is a name brand guitar that is very affordable, that has a headstock that you may recognize, that I think is probably one of the best bangs for your buck as far as a budget guitar is concerned, but it's also a name brand guitar. And so for those of you who really want to avoid the no name or the really cheap budget brands, like Firefly, Harley Benton, things like that, and you want to stick with something that is more traditional, I don't think you can go wrong then checking out the Squier Classic Vibe line of guitars. This is the second Classic Vibe guitar that I've owned. I had another Telecaster. It was the Classic Vibe Custom, which had the sunburst finish on it and the double binding. Beautiful guitar. That guitar was so well made. Ended up selling it because that's what I do. I don't know. I don't keep a guitar. I don't keep guitars around for very long. As you can see, the back wall is pretty sparse because I'm going through a purge where I'm selling a lot of stuff. But anyway, I love Telecasters. I consider myself a Telecaster guy. I really like the Telecaster style guitar because, to me, I think Leo Fender got it right the first time. I really like the looks of them. The headstock, I think, is one of the best looking headstocks on guitars. The body shape also is really nice. And I just think they sound great. They're not complicated. You don't have the tremolo. You don't have 3 pickups. There's just a 3-way switch, tone and single tone and volume. They're great guitars. I'm really a fan of the butterscotch, the traditional, quote unquote, traditional style Telecaster with the black, solid black pickguard. So I had a GNL, the Fullerton Deluxe ASAT Telecaster style guitar. Really nice guitar. I don't know, it was okay, but for the cost, I think that you know, comparable to these, you know, cheaper guitars, I think they're right on par with one another. And so I ended up selling that one. And then I had a Telecaster Custom Shop, which was what they call the new old stock, which basically is like if you found, what was it, a 51 Telecaster, you know, that had been produced in 1951, and you just found it unused, still in the case or whatever. That's kind of the look they're going for. I mean, they look the part, and they've got, you know, the cloth cord around the pickups, and they're really authentic pickups. and all the components in them are really authentic, and even the screws in the pick guard are the straight head, the flat head screws. And so that guitar was really nice, but it was also very expensive. It was, I mean, they retailed for around $4,000, and that one I got used for, I think, $2,800 or $2,600. Got it to compare to some Fireflies, and that video, of course, rubbed people the wrong way, but there's really not a whole lot different between them. I mean, it's a custom shop guitar, but it's really just a copy of you know, a production line guitar. So there really wasn't anything special to it other than the fact that it was a really authentic sort of reproduction of an older guitar. And that's what this one kind of sort of mimics, but it's got, you know, more modern components in it. It's got, you know, Phillips head screws, things like that. It doesn't have the vulcanized fiberboard pick guard like the custom shop did. It does have the fiberboard bobbins on the pickup, and so that sort of makes a difference, I think. It's got a bone nut on it, and the fretwork on it is perfect. It says it's narrow, tall frets. I think they're a little tall for my taste. I actually like the vintage, the narrow, you know, the short vintage frets. And it's got the vintage tuning keys on it. And of course, the headstock has, you know, a fairly authentic looking logo on it. It does say Squier on it, but it says Squier by Fender Telecaster. So this is an actual Telecaster. That also rubs people the wrong way when you call a Squier a Fender, but that's what it is. I mean, it's like an Epiphone is a Gibson. I mean, they're really going out of their way to make these guitars look the part, and they do a really good job of it. I think this one retails brand new on Fender's website for $4.99, if I'm not mistaken. Classic Vibe 50s Telecaster. That's what this is. This is a Classic Vibe 50s in the butterscotch, and yes, they retail right now on Fender's website for $499.99. I got this one for just over $400 off of Reverb from ProStar Audio, and I must be considered B stock or a floor model or something like that. It says excellent condition, but it came in the original box with all the original paperwork and everything, and it's just a little scratched up on the pick guard, but I think that's still got the plastic on it, so you know, it's still got the little decal or whatever. So it's a really, really well-made guitar. It's heavy. It's a pine body. I think my only criticism is, and you can probably tell what it is just by looking at the body, it's a 3-piece, and this particular hunk here has a different grain pattern than the rest of it, and it's a lighter. So it took the stain in the poly differently, and so you have that real distinct line between the two colors there. So that just kind of, I don't know, it kind of screams, you know, there's no doubt in your mind that it's a multi-piece guitar, but it's only 3. It looks like it's 3 pieces. I think there's 3, maybe 4. It's hard to say. It looks like 1, 2, 3, 4. And again, pine, but you would think it'd be really light being pine, but it's not. Actually, let me put it on a scale and see. It's got to be all of 7.5 pounds, I bet. Oh yeah, it's pushing 8. It's 7.8 pounds. So it's a heavy guitar for being pine, and it feels solid too. So. And it's got the nice stamped badge in the back that says Squier. And again, the actual Telecaster headstock shape. Some of the guitars out there, headstocks are really, really ugly. So anyway, let's 25.5-inch scale length, and these are Alnico pickups. They're calling them Fender designed Alnico pickups. And this guitar is made in Indonesia, and I think that's where Chit is. I don't know if Chit makes these or who makes them for Fender, but they're really well made. I mean, the finish on it is absolutely flawless. Neck is gloss. Frets are perfect. I mean, there's no sharp ends whatsoever. Very well done. And so yeah, let's plug it in and see how it sounds. Okay, here we go. This is everything's at 12 o'clock on the tone and the volume, and we're in the bridge pickup. Now, the one thing you'll notice is that it sounds like it's out of tune. It's because I press, see? I press really hard, and those tall frets, those are what if you're heavy-handed like I am, it'll sound like you're out of tune, but I'm definitely tuned up. And this is intonated correctly. And so yeah, so you got to kind of play with a light touch, which I have a hard time doing, especially if I get nervous or whatever. I played acoustic guitar for so long that I just sort of jam down on. So even clean, you can hear that sort of that growl that the bridge pickup, Telecaster pickup has. So it's got that really authentic tone to it. So here's the middle position. And the neck. And okay, so and then we'll try it with a little overdrive. Okay, we're still in the neck position. The tone on it is really good. This is the middle position. And the bridge. Be a little out of tune. Anyway, there you go. That's just something that I picked up from Reverb. I don't have a lot of sponsored content right now, and I don't want to, I don't know, I'm trying to thin out my guitars so I can start focusing on some other things. I keep saying over and over again that I want to do a build, and I haven't done it yet. So I'm really trying to work towards that. I've got almost 300 subscribers on the CNC guitar building workshop channel that I have. If you haven't checked that out, check that out. I'm going to really start concentrating on trying to do some builds. After 3 years of reviewing the same old budget Stratocasters over and over again, kind of getting burned out on that. I really enjoyed the travel guitar that I did a review on, which was also a Telecaster, and from Journey Instruments, and that video kind of flopped. I was kind of disappointed. It finally got up over 1,000 views, which is good. I probably will do a deep dive on that. Somebody was asking about, you know, what the pickups were like and the output of the pickups and things like that. So I'm going to try to get the studio here set up. I'm really kind of in transition because I moved to my shop and then I moved back here and then everything's in a mess. So trying to get all the clutter sort of cleaned up, and I'm selling some things and things like that. So hopefully I can get things organized and get back to doing regular reviews. This year I'd like to actually try to end in the black, so I haven't been too eager to go out and just buy guitars one after the other. And reverb sales right now, if you're selling used guitars, you know how badly sales are right now on used guitars on reverb. It is horrible. But that's what you get when the economy is kind of questionable. But anyway, if you are in the market, and this isn't a sponsored video, I don't get any kickbacks from Squier, Fender, whatever. But if you're in the market for a really well-made guitar that really fits the part, you can't go wrong with a Squier, especially these classic vibes. They've done a really good job of sort of capturing that vibe from these old style guitars, and I really like them, and I know that there's a lot of people out there that really like them too. Telecasters, I think, are still really popular guitars, so I think if I'm going to do a build, I think that is what I'm going to concentrate on, is the Telecaster style guitars. But anyway, just something I wanted to throw out there to give you guys some content, since I've been kind of not putting out much content lately. So hopefully as the weather breaks and get things organized around here, we'll start doing that. And maybe we'll have a giveaway too. I think the Patreon members, I think it's time for them to get rewarded for their generosity. So anyway, I thank everybody for tuning in and watching. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. And thanks for tuning in. This is Jayce Allan Guitar. We'll see you next time.